Hello, everyone. Today I will be talking about violence against women, which is part of the ethics and values paper for the first semester students. Violence against women can be seen in families as well as in public spaces. At first, we will talk about women and violence in the family. The first point that comes to mind is dowry death. Death because of dowry that the woman's parents were somehow not able to provide to the family of the boy or the groom. So when a married woman is killed or forced to commit suicide by her husband or in-laws because of a dispute over dowry, it is called dowry death. Section 304B of the Indian Penal Code defines dowry death. There is a definition. Okay. What is dowry death? Death of a woman caused by burns, because often women whose families cannot provide dowry, they are burnt. Okay. So death of a woman caused by burns or bodily injury, or that occurs under abnormal circumstances. That means not normal death, but abnormal death, death which is not normal. Okay, if all or any of these things happen within 7 years of marriage, then it will be called dowry death. Okay, if it is found out that the reason for such a murder was money that the girl's parents should have paid to the boy's parents, then legal action is taken. If it is shown that soon before her death, she was subjected to cruelty or harassment by her husband or any relative of her husband in connection with any demand for dowry, such death will be called dowry death, and such a husband or a relative shall be responsible for her death. Whoever is found responsible for dowry death shall be punished with imprisonment, shall be sent to prison for a term which shall not be less than 7 years, but which may extend to imprisonment life. Okay, so this is the first kind of violence that a woman could face in her own family. Then another severe crime is honor killing. What is it? Killing for honor. It is most often the murder of a woman or girl by male family members, and the killers justify their actions by claiming that the victim has brought dishonor upon the family name or prestige by marrying for love into another caste or community. Honor killing could be traced back to the time of partition. If you remember, when India was divided into two countries, India and Pakistan. At that time, many women were killed by their own families to save the family's honor, because at that time, if a Hindu man had to take revenge from some Muslim family, then the Hindu man would go and rape a Muslim woman. And if a Muslim man had to seek some kind of revenge against a Hindu family, then the Muslim man would go and rape and kill a Hindu woman. So all these kinds of things were happening at that time. And so in order to save the family's honor, their own family used to kill them so that other people could not come and rape their women. Okay, so imagine the condition of women just because India was partitioned into two nations, India and Pakistan. Okay, so from time immemorial, for a long time, and even today, women have been associated with the family's honor, and because of that, they have to face a lot of torture and violence within their own families. Honor killings have been mostly reported in northern regions of India. They are common in North India, mainly in the states of Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh. Apart from this, they are also widespread in South India, but the rate is less as compared to the honor killings in North India. And in some Western Indian states like Maharashtra and Gujarat, we also find honor killings taking place. Now, to save such couples, okay, who, the boy and girl might be belonging to different castes or different communities, or they might be belonging to different religions, okay. So if such a couple seeks protection, then the government provides safe houses for them where they can live till their families are satisfied, or till their families are convinced by the government that they should not go and harm the couple just because they have married against their wishes. Okay, so there are safe houses, for example, in Kerala and Haryana, for such couples, so that they are protected from violence. Okay, so that is the concept of honor killing. Then next is femicide. What is femicide? It is a hate crime. Okay, that means crime committed because of hatred, because you hate someone. Okay, so femicide is a hate crime which is broadly defined as the intentional killing of women or girls because they are female. So a man would be hating his wife because she is a woman, and that is why he would at some point of time, because of some small reason, he would go and kill her. Okay, so that is called femicide. So usually it is seen that a spouse or a partner, that means the husband, is responsible in almost 40% of homicides involving a female victim. Okay, so homicide means killing of a person, a human being, and femicide, killing of a woman in particular. Okay, then feminist author Diana Russell, there is this author, Diana Russell, who believes that her definition of femicide applies to all forms of sexist killing, whether motivated by misogyny. So the reason behind killing of a woman who is a person's wife, okay, could be misogyny. Misogyny means a hatred for females, hating females, okay, or a sense of superiority over females, that feeling that I am superior to her, I have power over her, so I can do anything to her even if it is killing or murder. Okay, then sexual pleasure, some men, they gain sexual pleasure by killing the woman. Okay, that gives them a different kind of thrill or high, and that is a kind of mental illness. Actually, that is a mental perversity. Okay, or the assumption of ownership over women, just as I said, to show power over women or ownership over women, considering women their property, they think that it is well within their right to even kill the woman, and that is the concept of femicide. Then another kind of violence in the family is forced marriage. Forced marriage means forcing a girl to get married without her consent or will. Child marriage is also a form of forced marriage, because a child is never asked whether she or he would like to marry. Okay, so that is a forced marriage. According to the United Nations, child and forced marriage, actually United Nations has this concept of CFM, a combined concept. So it means child and forced marriage. That is a human rights violation and a harmful practice that affects women globally. Okay, so even internationally, women are subject to child marriage or forced marriage. Okay. Then the Indian Contract Act 1872 is an important act in this regard. It is applicable to all the states of India, It determines the circumstances in which promises made by the parties to a contract shall be legally binding. So if you have signed a contract, what are the points that would be legally binding on both parties, those who have signed the contract? So all those things, they come under the Indian Contract Act 1872. Why is it important for us? Because under Article 15 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, forced marriages have been declared illegal in India. So it is said that if a forced marriage has happened, that means one of the parties did not give her consent, and that is why this contract, if we see marriage as a contract, okay, kind of understanding between two families, an agreement between two families, that agreement will be declared illegal if the woman's consent is not involved. Okay, so that is one kind of violence, forced marriage. And if forced marriage happens to a child, then it is child marriage. Okay. Then another form of violence is female genital mutilation. Okay, FGM. Just remember this term, female genital mutilation. It refers to all procedures involving partial or total removal of the female external genitalia or other injury to the female genital organs for non-medical reasons. And this is important. Female genital mutilation, that means you do something to cut any part of the, any kind of harm that is made to the private parts of women, which is not related to any medical reason, but it is done for non-medical reasons. That means it is just done to follow a family tradition. Okay, it is most often carried out on young girls, very young girls, because they would not know what is happening to them. Okay, young girls between infancy and age 15. In every form in which it is practiced, female genital mutilation is a violation of girls' and women's fundamental human rights, including their rights to health, security, and dignity. And in places where this is carried out, the young girls on whom female genital mutilation has been done, they suffer from different kinds of diseases because the practice is not very hygienic. It is not done in a proper way, and anyone can come and cut, place a cut or do something to the private part. So that is very painful, and it leads to different health problems that the woman faces later in her life. At least 200 million girls and women from 31 countries across 3 continents have been subjected to the practice. So this is something very serious. No matter how it is practiced, FGM or female genital mutilation is a violation of universal human rights principles. Okay. Then another form of violence in the family is forced sterilization. Sterilization means some kind of procedure that is done to help you not get pregnant. Okay, so usually the sterilization is done with the wish of the woman, but it becomes violence when it is forced sterilization. That means she does not want the process to be done, but the process is forced upon her. So forced sterilization is the forced removal of a person's ability to reproduce, often through a surgical procedure. Okay. So some kind of surgery is done and the woman is forcefully made to agree, okay, to have her uterus removed or something like that. When performed without informed consent, so if this is not done with the woman's consent, then sterilization violates an individual's right to dignity. Humane treatment means kind treatment. Human beings have the right to kindness. That means human beings deserve to be treated with kindness. But if somebody is forced to undergo sterilization, then that is not kindness. Okay? It is cruelty. So forced sterilization violates an individual's rights to dignity, humane treatment, health, family, information, privacy. All these rights are violated. And to freely decide the number and spacing of children, among other rights. If we look at India's history, forced sterilizations of women reached new heights during the emergency, when emergency had been declared in India and people's rights were violated. Many women were forced to undergo sterilization, and this was a form of gendered violence. Women were considered the ideal candidates for this drive because they were less likely to protest. So it was thought that women would not protest much, women would not raise their voices, and so we can do it to women. And moreover, they did not want to affect the reproductive capability of men in any way. So let us not harm the reproductive capability of men, but we can do this to the women. So this kind of an attitude made it a form of gendered violence. Okay. Then there are some other forms of violence in the family. One is forced nudity. Nudity means nakedness. Okay. So forced nudity is a state when a woman's clothes are forcibly taken off, or when she is ordered to take off her clothes, or she is threatened. She is afraid that if she does not take off her clothes, something bad will happen to her. Okay. So under such a threat, she is helpless and she takes off her clothes. So this is called forced nudity, and this can happen within a family, and that is why all these things are important, because many times all these kinds of violences, they are not reported, they do not come out, but they do happen within families, and that is why it is important to know all about these things. Then there is something called marital rape. Okay, it is a very tricky concept because when husband and wife, they have sex, it is considered the purpose of marriage. Okay, why people come together in the first place. But if the husband forces his wife to have sex with him, even if she does not want to have sex, then that is called marital rape. So consent to have sex is necessary even within a marriage. So sadly, such forms of violence within the family are hardly reported. The women who are tortured or women who are subject to marital rape, they never come out and say that I have been raped by my husband. They don't say such things. And that is why these things, they continue to happen. Even the legal system is not clear regarding this issue, and even till date we do not have clear rules about marital rape, or clear words saying this is marital rape and this deserves punishment. These things are still not there clearly in our legal system, because married women are still considered the properties of their husbands, and criminalizing marital rape might destroy families. Okay, so this is something to regret. So these are the various forms of violence that a woman faces within her family. So let me stop here now. In the next video, I will be talking about different forms of violence that women face in public places. Okay, so just wait for the next video.